Hello everybody, FAI here, or I here, and welcome back to another Accureye Talks video. And in today's Accureye Talks video, I thought we'd talk a important factor into choosing an FPS game for yourself. Now, there are different FPS games, and some games have a good middle ground that it doesn't matter what style you play. But in this particular video, we're talking about the play style that you should play in game, and at least for Apex Legends, and why of course you may fail a lot, and why Apex Legends, even though it may be a popular game, may not be for you exactly. Now, I'm going to talk about common mistakes on this video, as well as other little aspects on the video that could potentially help you make the choice of if a game like Valorant is better for you versus a game like Apex Legends, or even maybe CSGO would be better for you than Apex Legends. Now, I will say that there also is middle ground games like Call of Duty, which have a mixture of both styles in the game, but when it comes down to clearly Apex Legends or even Fortnite, is the game for you? Well, I mean, that's pretty much the question I will be answering for you on this video. Now, let's first of all talk about Apex Legends and Fortnite. We both know, or if you haven't already known, you know that it's a Battle Royale type game. And I know that for most people, Battle Royales have become kind of the hit wonder of the, of the game styles, and it's also become somewhat of something that everyone kind of is looking for. Everyone's kind of looking to get into. But I mean, is this game for you? Well, I mean, that's a question that you may have to ask yourself when it comes down to it. Now, in my personal opinion, Apex Legends and Fortnite are two very, very fast style games. Very, very uber aggressive. Very, very to the point of you have to really be good at the fast, aggressive style gameplay. Now, this may not be for everyone. I mean, let's face it, at the end of the day, not everyone likes being uber aggressive. Me, as a player who's also still trying to figure things out and figure out why, games like Apex Legends and Fortnite were kind of my thing for a while, I still had to figure that out myself. And one of the main reasons, these style games were kind of my thing for, say, at the very least, is because of their aggressive nature. Now, again, this may not be for everyone. Not everyone's going to like the, over-aggressive style gameplay. In fact, I would say that for the most part, not everyone is going to be an uber-aggressive player at the end of the day. Everyone has their different styles, has their different way of playing games in general. And especially in Fortnite, and Apex Legends, you gotta realize that this is a very fast-paced game. And with that having been said, obviously, even in, like, my playstyle, you'll see it here where I'm getting uber aggressive right off the bat. And that's because I like being uber aggressive. But it may not be for you to be uber aggressive. Now, being uber aggressive does mean, and you're going to probably already argue with me. I can see it in the comments already. You're probably going to argue with me. But being uber aggressive means I'm going to fail a lot. And, I want to place well. Well, you want to place well, and I can understand that. But first and foremost, remember that placing well doesn't always translate into doing good in the game. I mean, if you're just playing as a placement warrior, for instance, then you're going to end up failing, probably. And because you'll probably end up most likely failing, you've got to realize that, this is going to happen a lot if you just don't get uber aggressive. Now, like I said, it's not going to always work out for most players. Most players are not going to like the uber aggressive playstyle. And, again, that's just common error that you'll see a lot of times in these games. I mean, when it comes down to it, just remember that in these games, you will see a lot of the, play styles and people getting uber aggressive on this game. And, you may think, well, the uber aggressiveness doesn't really work for me, and I'd rather be a passive player. And that makes sense. It's understandable if you are trying to be a passive player. Now, if you are trying to be passive and you want to play the game a little more passively, maybe even just look into, being a little less aggressive, and then, the main thing I would say is recognize what you gotta do. Recognize your, the changes you've gotta make and some of the things that you've gotta do to make the game better for you. Or recognize what kind of game you're playing, first and foremost. That's probably the biggest thing I should say here. Now, the game you play is basically going to help you recognize that, okay, this is a little bit of a faster-paced game style. It's going to be a little bit harder for me to realistically be, passive at the game. And if passiveness is your thing, then I would recommend you look into playing something like Valorant, playing something like Call of Duty, which of course is a great middle ground, but we'll not talk about the middle grounds. We're going to just talk about the two extreme types of games, which are the uber aggressive type games like Apex Legends and Fortnite, and then the passive games at the moment, which are like of course Valorant, and of course stuff like CSGO or Counter-Strike Global Offensive. But, it's like, when it comes down to it, I know some of you are arguing, well, you probably can play both styles on both types of games, right? And not really. And my argument to that is not really. You can't really play both styles on both types of games. Yes, in some games, there are some times where you can get a little more aggressive than there are other times where you can be a little more passive. But in general, the two play styles really are more, a lot more different than you could think of. And there are only like certain extreme or times where some parts of that particular game and playstyle may, slightly mesh with the other particular game and playstyle. But for the most part, when you look at it and you look down at it completely, you gotta realize that in general, both the games like, Apex Legends is extremely, extremely to the point and to the extent of they are, a very, very aggressive type game. And then you look at something like Counter-Strike Global Offensive, it's a very, very passive style game because of its pace and speed. Now, this means that, something like Counter-Strike Global Offensive or Valorant, you have a lot more time to do camping, to play a little more passively, to wait for your particular enemy or your opponent to come to you, because you're probably going to be waiting in that corner and expecting them to kind of turn the corner, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, surprise, I got ya. But in Apex Legends, because of how open it is, you're never going to have a time where it's just going to be like you are down with, someone not spotting you and then all of a sudden you're in a fight. And this is why, you just got to realize that when it comes down to it, Apex Legends is a very, very aggressive style game. It's going to be very, very aggressive. And it's going to be very, very hard for some players to realistically, play the game because of the fact that it's just so uber aggressive. And it's so open that it's easy to get caught in one place or another, So, with that having been said, you obviously gotta realize that, in the end, it's really built around, just you playing to the best of your ability. Now, in the case of if you are a uber aggressive player like me, then, one thing I would tell you to recognize is just learn to be aggressive. Don't roll with your team unless they're a team of, communicators or people you trust, and, expect them to kind of follow your lead. Do the best you can to make them follow your lead. Force them to follow your lead. If they are playing looter and playing, like, placement warrior, then, at the end of the day, you gotta just, get them to pick up their sticks and go, okay, we gotta start moving. We gotta start pushing for, whatever we're doing. But if they are playing, like, I don't know, passive, La La Land, then, you've got to push them. You got to try to push them. Now, some players may play La La Land no matter how you look at it. And this is something that Apex Legends really does need to fix, which is bring in a solo mode. Now, I know Apex Legends already weighed in and said that they don't want to bring in a solo mode, but a solo mode for ranked and for just quick play in general would be so much better for players, especially those who want to showcase their abilities. Now, again, I know that duos are thing and they have been thing for a while, but again, we need a solo mode just so that players like, me, players like, maybe Dr. Disrespect can roll in and start stomping whoever they want to stomp in, or roll in and get as aggressive as they want without limits of going, oh, I've got to hold back on my, I've got to hold back and wait for my random squad of, La La Land loot packers that I have to wait on them. Now, let's talk about the passive games and why passive games work for a more passive gameplay style and a more passive player. Now, when it comes down to it, passive games like Counter-Strike Global Offensive, like I said before, or CSGO, and Valorant, they work for a more passive player because 9 out of 10 times, a lot of the gameplay is just you waiting and camping out for your enemy to come around to you. Now, again, there are some times where you will see in Valorant and even in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, people getting a little more aggressive. But a lot of times, you're hanging back in a corner just waiting. And, with that having been said, there's a lot more planning and strategy involved. And because there's a lot more planning and strategy involved, you got time to kind of know, okay, I can absorb each moment. I can absorb each, loss. And then kind of go in the next maybe round or two, all of a sudden kind of come up with a plan and a strategy to change it up. And this is true. This does happen a lot when you are playing the game. Is if you are, for instance, just playing the game to be a little more passive and to be a little more, okay, let's just take our time, let's change up the style and whatever. You have almost like 21 rounds to win the game entirely, which is first to 13 wins. So you got about 21 rounds, 24 rounds, 25 rounds entirely to really just bring your game up to spec, bring your game up to par. And because you have that time, you can really just determine your passiveness and when it's the right time to get aggressive, who you should get aggressive on, and then, all that la jazz. Now, I forgot to mention another middle ground game, which is Overwatch. But again, we'll talk about the middle ground games later on. For now, let's just focus on the passive games. And like I said, CSGO or Counter-Strike Global Offensive, I will reference it as CSGO from this point on. Even games like Valorant are best for a more passive playstyle player. And because they are best for a more passive playstyle player, then, it makes it much easier to realistically, have a, I'm going to play this way, I'm going to do this, and then, everything will be, at least maybe working out to a degree. And that's something that you just gotta realize is that, at the end of the day, yeah, it's going to be all based around that, And because of that, there is a, easier, it's easier to come up with strategies and just be better at the game. Now, again, this is something that you just gotta figure out what works best for you. Now, let's talk about Apex Legends and, again, bringing solo mode back up, as I mentioned it for a little bit. Solo mode would benefit this game a lot, especially a solo ranked and solo, quick play, because then it could make it to where players can be as aggressive as they want to be, or they can be as passive as they want to be. Now, of course, the passive players are going to get wrecked every single time, and it may make them angry to the point where they may not want to play, but you've got to realize that, this aggressiveness needs to happen. This is a fast-paced game. Battle Royales were meant to be, and they are built as a fast-paced game. So, because they're built as a fast-paced game, because they were meant for being a fast-paced game, you've got to realize that at the end of the day, it's a very uber-aggressive predator versus predator, hunter versus the hunted, or hunter versus hunter sometimes game. And, that's why the passive games like CSGO and Valorant are best for passive players. Because, again, you can have time to think. You don't have to, be like, oh, I need to loot up. I need to get my loot all the time. And, with that having all been said, let's talk about the middle ground games, aka the middle ground. So what are the middle ground type games? Well, I've already mentioned it before. But a middle ground type game is something like Overwatch. It's something like Call of Duty. Even a game like, believe it or not, even a game like what is it? Battlefield. Battlefield is a good middle ground type game. So these middle ground type games are great because they have a place for an uber aggressive player like me, but they also have a place for a passive player who wants to be persistently like, oh, I'm just going to be in La La Land, or I want to take my time to figure it out, and just passively work among my team or work around my team. So, again, this is why the middle ground games exist, like Call of Duty, Battlefield, and, even something like Black Squad. Which I haven't mentioned yet in this video, is a good middle ground type game. Now, why are these good middle ground type games? Well, as I've said before, they can determine between the passive playstyle and, of course, the more aggressive playstyle, which, of course, in general makes it more versatile for everybody. And this means that everyone can be effective, if you will, in, these type of games. So, with that having been said, it is obviously something that, you can work around and work on. Now, let's talk about that. When it comes to being uber aggressive on this game, I know you probably are all in the comments kind of going, well, you're talking about all of this, and yet you haven't even explained why I hate being uber aggressive. Well, okay, let's answer why you may hate you being uber aggressive. And this is something that everyone is never going to like when it comes to being uber aggressive. One, you will fail a lot. Yes, you will fail a lot. Remember, if you're going to play uber aggressive, you will fail a lot. Almost every time you will fail to some degree. Now, this is the same with me. I have failed almost 2,000 times. AKA, I've been eliminated almost 2,000 times in general. Well, as you can see here on my card, and I'll go back to it at the very end of the, at the very end or near the end of the video. But I've fallen almost 1,500 times. Let's round that up to about 2K times. And yes, this will happen a lot. Now, one thing you should X out is the K to D ratio. That doesn't matter. All that matters is you objectively can win. Now, sometimes you may not win because you get bad RNG, you don't find a weapon, or you just don't find any armor, or you get grouped up on. And sometimes you just don't win because everyone's just playing too passive. That happens. But let's face it, when it comes down to it, you've just got to remember, Battle Royales are an aggressive, very, very, very fast-paced, aggressive style game. And because they're a fast-paced, aggressive style game, you just got to realize, I've got to get aggressive. If I'm not aggressive, then I'm going to fail. Then I'm going to falter, I'm going to fail. And again, that's just something that will happen. If that does happen, and that does frustrate you, because you don't like being uber aggressive, stop playing Valorant, or stop playing Apex Legends, stop playing Fortnite, and play Valorant. Play CSGO. Play Call of Duty. Play Black Squad. Play Battlefield. Because again, those will maybe suit your style more than playing something like Apex Legends or Fortnite. But again, if you really are just uber passive, you just want to camp, you just want to take your time to give yourself time to think, then, Valorant and CSGO are probably your best bets. Because again, a lot of times, Valorant and CSGO are going to be very, very much more passive. Because there's going to be a lot more players who are going to camp between corners, hide between grounds, and, they're on the same path as you. They're thinking about, how are they going to engage? How are they going to, do this or do that, And that's something that you just gotta realize, is that at the end of the day, that's something that will happen. It's just, how do you do this? How do you do that, And because of that, then, you've gotta just realize that it's going to happen a lot, It's going to happen a lot, and it will be something that you will have to think about. So, take your time when it comes down to that. And, just note that, Apex Legends may not be your game, at the end of the day at all. So, take your time and realize that when you are playing this or anything. So, with that having said, that's why, Call of Duty, Black Squad, and then CSGO, Valorant, Battlefield, they're all great games for the passive player. Because, again, they're a little bit slower, they're a little bit less to the point of, I've got to move move all the time. I've got to try to push myself, and I don't like pushing myself. And that's okay. If you don't like pushing yourself, then just don't play Apex Legends, don't play Fortnite. Because again, Apex Legends and Fortnite, those are two very, very fast-paced games that are going to probably just frustrate the heck out of you. And because they're going to frustrate the heck out of you, then why are you playing them? Why do you continue to push yourself to try and enjoy this game? Well, I would say probably you're just trying to enjoy this game because, it's the next big hit in a way. It's probably the biggest hit in the set at the time. And that could go with any Battle Royale game. Look at Warzone. Warzone is such a big hit on the Battle Royale game right now because it is very, very fast-paced. Again, like every nature of every other Battle Royale game or BR game, it's a very, very big, fast nature, uber aggressive ground point. Now, of course, a lot of times in of course, Call of Duty Warzone, you'll have a lot of players who are focused solely on KDD. But again, your main objective is focus on the win. Don't worry about your KDD because, again, KDD fluctuates every single day. Every single time you re-enter the battle, KDD fluctuates. What you should focus on is how to get the win. And in Battle Royales especially, if you want to try to get the win, that means you have to get aggressive. You can't just play passive. You can't just sit back and hope that you can do this. Because again, the nature is that not a lot of us have a great game sense or anything like that. And we'll talk about game sense and whatnot later on. When we get into talking about how to play uber aggressively, we'll talk about all of that. But, continuing on, why is Overwatch or games like that, or Call of Duty multiplayer, or even Battlefield and Black Squad, a good middle ground? Well, the main reasons these games are a good middle ground, especially even Splitgate Arena are a good middle ground, is because they allow you to kind of determine what playstyle you like. You don't have to be uber aggressive off somebody, but you don't have to also be super passive. Even games like Escape from Tarkov, which is not a competitive game, have a good middle ground because you can choose how you want to play. And you can choose how you want to be, what you want to do. Whether it's just I want to chill, I want to enjoy the map, I want to grab a few items and stuff and then move on. Or I just want to go after every single person I can. It's up to you. But, at the end of the day, you just got to remember that everyone has a certain playstyle that they like. Me, I like being uber aggressive. And, that's just why Apex Legends, Call of Duty and Fortnite work for me. It's because, again, I like being uber aggressive. I like going after objectives that are very, very quick, and then I can move on and continue the next objective. I don't like babysitting objectives. Again, and that's another thing about CSGO and Valorant, is you gotta remember, you're going to be babysitting an objective a lot. And most of the time, you will be just sitting there babysitting the objective, going la 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 la. Okay. Oh, look, somebody's coming. I'm going to get aggressive on them. Yay, I won. Or I'm going to have my operator. Hey, look, they're coming around the corner. Bang, you're gone. hey, look at me. I'm the greatest, And that's exactly why CS:GO and Valorant work for those players, is because you can passively go, hey, look at me, I'm camping behind this corner. I'm going to shoot you now, and I'm going to win. Hey, look, I won. Where something like Apex Legends, it's like, hey, look, I have a sniper. I'm going to shoot this person now. What? I got eliminated. How did that happen? Well, you probably got eliminated because, let's face it, you were playing passive and you had a uber aggressive player just sneak up on you. So, again, that's why, there's a different ground for every player. But hopefully this video has helped you kind of decide and determine what are you. Because I've learned, at least from my point of view, that Valorant, while it's a great game, it has potential to be one of the best playing games since CSGO. It's not for me, because I hate babysitting objectives. I hate being in a point for more than maybe 20, 30 seconds. And that's kind of how Call of Duty multiplayer works. A lot of the objectives are only stand there for 10, 20 seconds, then move on to, the next objective. And, it's that fast-paced playstyle where I can get uber aggressive and go, yeah, okay, sure. I'll just stand here for a few seconds, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, look, time's up. I'm going to move on. And because time's up, I'm going to move on, I can now, continue with whatever I'm doing. And that's just something that works for me, That's why the uber aggressive playstyle works for me. That's why, I like being uber aggressive when I can, because again, it allows me to take the work and do the job that I need to do. Now, again, like I've said, it's not going to work for everybody. And, that's why the passive playstyle doesn't work for me. Valorant doesn't work for me because of the fact that it's just too passive. I have to babysit the objective for, up to a minute. And that can get really boring when I want to just go look for some people and try to chase down somebody. It's it's not for me to want to not chase down somebody or even just go into out of my way or go into a point of just oh, I gotta, move myself and, not, or I've gotta just sit here and wait, which could be extremely boring for me. So, yeah. But anyway, like I said, hopefully this video has helped you understand that there are two aspects to every playstyle and two aspects to the game. And, in every game, it's going to be focusing on a different aspect. In the case of Apex Legends, it's focusing more on being uber aggressive, being more towards yeah, go, 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 go. And not everyone's going to like that go, 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 style. But, hopefully you will learn, of course, that, there are different playstyles for everybody. And what you use or what works for you will always work for you. Now, what style that is, I'm not sure. If you're going to be uber aggressive, then I would say work on being uber aggressive, play Fortnite, play Apex Legends, and just work on putting yourself into the ringer, if you will. In my case, you'll see me here, of course, pushing, and trying to get more and more aggressive, and continuing to get aggressive when I can. So, again, because I'm trying to get more aggressive, I'm looting as I'm going. I'm just kind of taking a quick look at, or second or two, to just know what I'm looking for, and then I'm going to move on. Now, like I said before, will you fail? Yes, you will. You will fail a lot. It'll be like hundreds of times to fail. Thousands of times you may fail. You may even fail more times than you like. It may for a passive player, if you're a passive player, it may frustrate you. And that if it does frustrate you, then try being a more passive player for a while. See if something like Valorant can make you a little more passive and you're having fun with Valorant, because you can be a little more passive, you got a lot more time to think, and you can kind of decide what you want to do. Because again, like, I've tried both styles of games. I've tried to be both in Valorant and, of course, Apex Legends. And the reason I'm more aggressive is because I like being aggressive. I like having the aggressive playstyle. And I like pushing myself to, go to great lengths just to get into as many battles as I can and just play objective aggressively. Now, like I said before, first and foremost, here are some guidelines with any game, especially if you're looking into Valorant or Apex Legends. And that's, first and foremost, forget about K to D. I know this is a stat a lot of players will look at, but don't think about K to D. K to D is the worst stat to look at in any FPS title game. And in any FPS title game, you've just got to remember that K to D don't matter. What really matters is you're winning. If you can win and win all the time, that's all that matters. And how you win is either by playing uber aggressive on objectives, and trying to just get super aggressive and pub stomp as many people as you can, or stomp as many people as you can, or, play super campy and play super passive on the game. Now, of course, like I said, the super passive doesn't work on games like Apex Legends, on games like Fortnite. And the reason it doesn't work on games like Apex Legends or Fortnite is because it's not a game built for passiveness. It's not a game that's built for people who are wanting to be super passive. It's a game that's more built for being uber aggressive and, pushing the limits of your aggression, Because, again, if you can push the limits of your aggression, then you're already one step ahead, for the most part. But, again, it's up to you to determine what style works for you. Now, I found the style that works for me, but, again, remember, the style that works for me may not be the style that works for you. So, test out the middle ground, test out the ground, determine what works for you. And with that being said, I will skip ahead to showing you my stats and talking about a little bit about the stats before we close out today's video. So, I will be right back, everybody. Alright, so here we are back in the main menu, and let's talk a little bit about the stats. As you can see, when it comes to stats, I have over almost 1,400 games under my belt. And under those 1,400 games, as I've pointed out earlier, I have 1,500 deaths, almost 2,000 deaths entirely. My KD is pretty bad, but it's rising slowly. And the amount of damage I've done is pretty good. Now, again, I've had over 142 top 5s. I've had 32 lifetime wins. In total, I've had 23 wins just in this season alone. Now, you can't see my Season 0 stats or my Season 1 stats because I wasn't part of Season 1 in Chapter, or on my PC account, and I definitely wasn't part of Season 2 on my PC account. But, you can see back in Season 3, I was fairly passive, and, I only got one win in entirety. Going into Season 4, I had, or my ranked series, you can see I didn't have anything done. But as you can see in Season 1, or Season 3, I only had one win in my entirety. Season 5, I've had over 23 wins, just overall. So, in general, don't focus on KDD at all. If you want to get top 5, or if you want to work on doing that, then, as I've said before on Apex Legends, you just gotta be uber aggressive. There isn't going to be much room for passiveness. Now, we'll talk about the different styles of play, passiveness, and aggression in a future video. But for now, I'm going to end it with that. As you all see here, I just want to show you some of my stats and show you that, yes, you will fail a lot, especially when you are playing uber aggressive. But you're going to fail a lot more if you're just super passive. So, with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully this video has helped you become a better player in FPS games and find your style in general. But with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for hanging out. And yeah, I'm just showing you the 2K badge, and which is also fairly easy to get. But yeah, with that having been said, until the next one, everybody. Thank you everybody for joining me today. Thank you for watching. If you're uber aggressive, the 2K badge is fairly easy to get. But anyway, with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being here. Thank you for stopping by. And until the next one, everybody, wherever you live in the world, this is thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, you know what to do. Hit the like button, get subscribed, hit the bell notification, because I know you want to know when my next video drops next. Thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching. And yeah, once again, like I said, until the next one, everybody, this is FAI or I. I'm saying I am live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/FA_EYE or I at twitch.tv. So I'm live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday for sure. Wednesday and Saturdays I'm usually live for about 4 to 5 hours, sometimes a little bit longer. Thursdays I'm usually live for about 2 to 3 hours, and Monday and Tuesday I'm also live on 2 to 3 hours. But, yeah, with that being said, hopefully, like I said, this video has helped you, maybe make you better. If you liked it, you know what to do. Hit the like button, get subscribed. And until the next one, everybody, this is FAI or I, signing out and saying, farewell, everyone.